What I've found most profound about the universe zoo map is the Japanese spider crab and how big they are. If you were standing still on the equator, then you would actually be moving around 7.5 million miles an hour. Although relative to yourself, you would not be moving. You're standing on the Earth, which is rotating, so you have to add that speed, and the Earth is orbiting the Sun, so you have to add that speed, and so on. Numbers can get infinitely bigger or smaller. To reduce the number of digits and to make the number easier to understand, we use scientific notation. Someone would want to report misleading information to confuse the eye. That way, the difference can look as big or small as they want. If you don't start at 0, then the data will look different, as well as the x-axis scale. The scale can make a small difference look huge. For the Cartera graph, Cartera looks to have made large percentage of sales, but Cartera had only 4.5% sales. When the sizes are correct for the pie chart, you can see the difference. I will be more careful when reading graphs in the future. I will look at graphs to see where the x-axis start and the size of the pie chart section. Population for the data is all Americans. The sample for the data is Americans with obesity, type 2 diabetes, or HBP, high blood pressure, you know. The probability of being obese and not having type 2 diabetes or high blood pressure is 3.1%, but the probability of having all three is greater, being 8.5%. The chance for getting obesity is different for where you live. If you live in Arkansas, you have a 35% chance to get obesity. If you live in Colorado, you have a 22.6% chance. The standard deviation determines the tightness of the data points about the trend line. The lower standard deviation, the tighter the data points are about the trend line. The standard deviation tells us the spread, or how much our data points far from the mean. In the plot and whiskers plot, it will be bigger than the bigger your range. The height of the army recruit data does not have a big spread. This is because they are all males. The height of the mall shopper that has a big spread. This is because there could be a different type of people in the mall, such as women and children. The lower the standard deviation, the skinnier the curve. This is because the data is not spread out. You have a 68.2 chance to fall in the first standard deviation. This means 68.2% of Duke University scholars get from 4.67 to 8.73 hours of sleep. 95.4% of Duke University scholars get from 2.67 to 10.67 hours of sleep. The average household income is not normally distributed. It is skewed right. This is because 200 and above are outliers. This makes the top 1/5 includes most of the data. Sales is X and profit is Y. If sales equals 0, then it is also your y-intercept. The initial investment is when you have 0 sales. The y-intercept is your initial investment. The bottom dollar is on the table at 100 sales. It also, on the graph at the lowest part of the curve, the break-even point on the table is at 203. The break-even point on the graph is the x-intercept. Elon has to sell 258 flamethrowers to make a profit of $90,000. When you start a business, you are in the hole for a while, but eventually you climb out of that hole. This is also called the financial roller coaster of starting a business.